Welcome to SQL Server Replication in the Real World. In this course, we're going to be installing and configuring all three types of SQL Server Replication. There are three types of replication. They are snapshot, transactional, and merge. Each type has been designed for a specific business need. We will look at the architecture behind replication and provide you with a template for the type of replication you'll need for any given business scenario. We'll go far beyond the simple installation and configuration and discuss some real-world tweaks to replication that will have a big impact on the performance of your instances. My name is Mike West, and I'll be leading you through the course. I've been a production SQL Server DBA for 20 years and want to help you gain better insight into understanding replication. I've designed this course for anyone who wants to become proficient with all types of replication. When you're finished with this course, you'll know how to install all three flavors of replication. You'll understand the nomenclature, and you'll be able to make architectural decisions based on business use cases. Thanks for your interest in real-world replication, and we'll see you in the course. There are several reasons you might use SQL Server replication. A good example is using replication to copy your data to a different machine in order to support ad hoc reporting or provide a source for an analysis services cube. Using replication in this way offers two main benefits. Firstly, you're separating your expensive reporting queries from your online transactional processing queries, keeping the write-intensive OLTP loads on one system and the read-intensive reporting on another. And to be quite honest, this is about 95% of the reason most organizations implement replication. The second benefit comes from the fact that replication can be scheduled to run at certain intervals. For example, you can take a nightly snapshot and then have that move to a destination server, and that can be ready for business users who do reporting when they walk in the morning. A second scenario, albeit a little bit more complicated because it involves merge replication, is a traveling sales force. They're entering data into their local copy of the database, and the information is fed back into the database when they log back in. So what further complicates this issue is that data can sometimes be updated in different places, creating conflicts that must be resolved. The good news is, with merge replication, our third type of replication, SQL Server provides replication that was built exactly for this type of scenario. Replication can also be used for data archival and high availability purposes, although I've only seen this in rare situations and I would not recommend it. All right, let's talk about the replication architecture or the replication components. So replication requires a number of components to work properly. These involve three major parts: the publisher, the distributor, and the subscriber. A publisher has a publication database. The publication database contains a publication that includes articles. The setup also includes a distributor and its distribution database, as well as a subscriber and its subscription database, which contains a subscription. Finally, the step includes replication agents necessary to drive the process. All the objects that are to be replicated are called articles. An article corresponds to a SQL Server object. The objects can be tables, views, or stored procedures. Most of the time, they're just tables. An article's property determines whether the article can be an entire object or a filtered subset of its parts. A publication is a collection of articles grouped together as one unit. Every article is defined to be part of exactly one publication. Of course, you can define different articles on the same object in separate publications. A publication supports several configurable options that apply to all the articles. The publication database. Any database that contains objects designated as articles is called a publication database. When you set up a publication database, SQL Server modifies the inner structure of the database and creates several replicated related objects. A publication database is also protected against being dropped. A publication can contain articles from a single publication database only. The publisher, this is actually the SQL Server. This is actually the name of the server that is available for replication. The publisher itself doesn't really have a role in replication after setup. After the publication is defined, the distributor and sometimes the subscriber do all the heavy lifting. All right, in this lesson, let's learn about the distributor. So each publisher is linked to a single distributor. The distributor is a SQL Server instance that identifies changes to articles on each of its publishers. Depending on the replication setup, the distributor might also be responsible for notifying the subscribers that have subscribed to the publication that an article has changed. The distributor can be configured on a SQL Server instance separate from the publisher, but oftentimes the same instance takes the role of both publisher and the distributor. Each distribution has at least one distribution database. The distribution database contains a number of objects that store replication metadata as well as replicated data. A distributor can hold more than one distribution database. However, all publications defined on a single publisher must use the same distribution database. Each SQL Server instance that subscribes to a publication is called a subscriber. The subscriber receives changes to a published article through that publication. A subscriber does not necessarily play an active role in the replication process. Depending on the settings selected during replication setup, it might receive the data passively. A subscription is the counterpart of the publication process. Each subscription creates a link or contract between one publication and one subscriber. There are two core types of subscriptions. There are push subscriptions and there are pull subscriptions. In a push subscription, the distributor directly updates the data in the subscriber database. In a pull subscription, the subscriber asks the distributor regularly if any changes are available and then updates that database. A database that is the target of a replication subscription is called a subscription database. As in the case of the publication database, SQL Server modifies each subscription database during its initialization, mostly on first initialization. All right, in this video, let's learn about the replication agents. So the replication processes are executed by a set of replication agents, and each agent is an independent program that's responsible for the process of moving the data. In a default installation of replication, each agent is executed by its own SQL Server agent job. Most of these agents usually run on the distributor, although some can run on the subscriber. The publisher houses replication agents only when the publisher and the distributor are on the same instance, and that's very rare. Now, instead of relying on the SQL Server agents, you can execute any of the replication agents manually or by some other scheduling means, like a task scheduler. So we've got the snapshot agent. In all replication topologies, the snapshot agent provides the data required to perform the initial synchronization of the publication database with the subscription database. Transactional replication and merge replication use other agents to keep the data in sync afterwards. For both topologies, replication will use the snapshot agent again after the initial synchronization, only when you request a fresh resynchronization. We've got the log reader agent. It reads the transaction log of the publication database. It finds the changes to the published objects. Remember, these are the articles. It records those changes in the distribution database. Only transactional replication uses the log reader agent. We've got the distribution agent. This applies the changes recorded to the distribution database to the subscription database. As with the log reader agent, only transactional replication uses the distribution agent. The merge agent synchronizes changes between the publication database and the subscription database. It's able to handle changes in both the publication database and the subscription database and can sync those changes bidirectionally, which is really what merge does. It allows you to input your data into two databases and have them synchronized. A set of triggers in both databases supports this process. Lastly, we have the QReader agent. This is used for bidirectional transactional replication. Bidirectional transactional replication is an advanced topic and will be covered in this course. All right, in this lesson, let's go ahead and install SQL Server. You can see that I've got the setup, so let's go ahead and click through this so we can see where Replication is installed. We're going to go under Installation. We're going to click on Install Standalone and Features to an existing instance. We get our key. We click Next. We say, yep, I accept the terms. We click Next. Yep, leave that off. Yep, we don't care about the Windows firewall. Everything else looks good. Let's click Next. Yep, feature installation. We want the database engine, and we want the very first one, SQL Server Replication. All right, click Next. It's a named instance because a default instance already exists. So let's call this SQL 01. Who doesn't have a SQL 01? Click Next. Next. Mixed mode. All right, let's give it an SA password. We always want mixed. And we add the current user. Next. And we hit install. And that's it for spinning up a new installation with our replication features. All right, now let's walk through a scenario where it's not installed. So here we have it on SQL 01. We've got our second instance called SQL 02. And if we right click on local publication, new publication, we get this. And this tells us that replication components are not installed. So we need to go install those. So we head over to our installation center here, SQL Server Installation Center. We click on installation. We click on new SQL Server standalone installation or add features to an existing installation. And that's what we want to do. We want to add some features. We'll just walk through that. And it'll say perform a new installation or add features. We want to add some features. And it'll say what instance. We want 02. We want to click next through that. And here it is, SQL Server Replication. So we just want to click next. It's that simple. And now we hit install. And when this finishes, we'll be able to create a new publication. So let's disconnect from our instance and let's just reconnect. I did not restart the engine, so let's see if it works without restarting. Replication, new publication. And it absolutely does. You do not have to restart the SQL Server service in order to get it to work. So now we have two instances where we're going to do our work. All right, we have SQL 01, SQL 02. Both have replication components installed and ready to go. All right, in this lesson, let's learn what snapshot replication is. Snapshot replication creates an identical copy of the replicated objects and their data each time it runs. There is no synchronization capability available for snapshot replication. Subsequent executions always copy the entire data set, overriding any external changes that might have been applied to the target database. Snapshot replication uses SQL Server's BCP, or bulk copy process utility, to write the contents of each table into a snapshot folder. The snapshot folder is a shared folder set up on the distributor when replication is configured. Each component that participates in snapshot replication needs to have access to that snapshot folder. Every time snapshot replication runs, all articles and their data are again copied from scratch, which can require significant bandwidth and storage resources. Now, snapshot replication is rarely used by itself. However, its mechanisms are an integral part of the initialization process of the other replication types. All right, in this lesson, let's go ahead and set up snapshot replication. So the first thing we want to do is go to our replication folder. Let's drop down, and we're going to create a snapshot or picture of the data. Think of a snapshot as a picture of the data right now. So essentially, we're going to take a picture of the AdventureWorks 2014 database, and we're going to place it in some scripts, and then we're going to put it on this box. See, is there a database down there? Nothing. Good. All right, so we're clean. So let's go here and start new publication. And on the new publication wizard, we just select next. This is the publication database. This is the one we're taking a picture of, and we're going to put the contents of this database here on the SQL 2 instance. Snapshot, right? It's given us the options. Snapshot, transactional, merge, peer-to-peer. We got another one there we'll talk about later. Snapshot is what we're after for this lesson, so we'll say next. Now, the only thing we want to do is tables. Right? For this lesson, we'll do tables, and we'll talk a little bit more about doing these other objects or articles, as they're called. So if we drop down here, these are all articles, right? They're really tables. But in the speak of replication, we call them articles. So here we have all the table articles. That's what the little check mark by the all means. Every table in that database. All right, so it says filter table rows. Nope, we don't want anything filtered. We'll take them just as they are. We're going to ignore this now. We're not going to do this. A lot of people do this, but this actually is cause for lowered optimization, and we'll talk more about that in another lesson. So let's just go with next. The security for the snapshot agent. It says run under Windows account. I don't want to do that here. For our demo, I want to do it under the agent account, the service, the SQL Server agent. Okay. Next. Create the publication. Let's go ahead and hit finish. Let's give it a name. How about add name of the database? Seems like a logical name. Now it's adding the articles. There's 71 tables apparently. Close. And if we come down here, that was pretty clear, huh? Come down here and we right click on this and we go to view snapshot agent status. We can see it's never been run. It created it. All right, so it created all the necessary information for us to do the snapshot, but it didn't do the snapshot yet. So let's go ahead and start that snapshot. So we right click on the publication and we go to view this one, view snapshot agent status, and we're going to start it. All right, so what's this message say? A snapshot was not generated because no subscriptions needed initialization. That means, listen, you're not doing any work. You have no one on the other side of that, so I really don't want to do it. All right, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and create a subscription to this publication. So let's right click on this and it says new subscription. New subscription wizard. We're going to click next. Here it says, hey, what is the publication database? Where do you want to get the data from? And here, AdventureWorks 2014. Next, run the agents at the distributor, right? So we're going to run it here. This is where the distributor lives. At the subscriber, right? This is a subscriber. We don't want to run here. You can do that in order to take resources off the primary server if you want, but we're going to run it for our demo purposes on the primary box where the publisher is. Next, hey, what subscriber do you want? Go find one. All right, so let's go find one. Here we're going to add a SQL Server subscriber. It says, hey, I see O2 was the one you last logged into. Let's go ahead and check there. Good. It guessed correctly. So let's go find a database. There is no database there, so let's go ahead and create a new one. It's going to create a new database over here. So let's go ahead and do that. AdventureWorks. I don't know why I capitalized that. 2014. And let's change that in order to SA. We will say OK. Now we have a database, and we can go ahead, move on. All right, distribution agent security. All right, we need some security settings here. run under the SQL Server agent. Again, it says it's not recommended. Everyone does it. I think it's fine. And for demo purposes, that's what I'm doing. So we'll say OK. And we'll click Next. I do not want to run continuously. I want to run it on demand. I want it to run when I say it wants to run. Okay? Not when it thinks it needs to run. So it says initialize. When are we going to initialize? All right. So initialize at first synchronization. Yeah, that's fine. Create the subscription. Finish. Okay. Finish. And now we are creating our subscription to this publisher. Nice and quick. If we come up here, we should see in this plus sign the subscriber. All right, so let's click on this again. We're going to click on our publication again. Let's right click and let's go to View Snapshot Agent Status. Start it again. Now look, you'll see the message bulk copying snapshot data for article, name of the table, right? So what it's doing is taking the data and put it into a file. All right, so that was pretty quick. All the files have been created for this. So let's say close. Let's come down and view the synchronization status to our destination, which is going to be SQL 02. All right, so it's never been run. So let's start it. The process could not access database. All right, so we've got an error. So what do? We click on this monitor. So let's go ahead and click monitor to see what the problem is. Click on our little X, click on the drop down here. So the subscription, here it says error, right? So we want to click on the error to see what's going on. And it says the process could not access the database, all right, on O2. All right, so what was the problem? So this guy is the problem. He doesn't have access to the database. Well, okay, that's a pretty easy fix. Let's cancel out of this and let's go give him access. So let's go to the security on this box. Let's go to logins. Let's go to that account. It was very specific about what account it wanted. So let's go to user mappings. And for this, let's go if it works. Let's give him DBO. Now let's go back and restart our process. All right, another error. Could not find the column. Okay, there's the key, right? Cannot find the column. So what column? All right, so we've got a user function called UFN leading zeros. So what we need to do to correct this is script out this user function on the source and then just copy it over. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to AdventureWorks. Let's go to Programmability. Oh, I said that right. Let's go to Functions. Let's go to Scalar Functions. And the last one is this leading one that's complaining about. So we'll script this function out. We're going to create two new query window. We're going to change the connection here. So go to Connection, change connection to O2. We want it on O2. And now we want to add it. So now that this function is on O2. All right, so now that we're done with that, let's see if we can get it to stop complaining and finish our replication. So it's over there. Let's restart it. That's what we want to see. So right now we've created the table and we're bulk copying the data into the database log table. The snapshot agent was applied to the subscriber. That was pretty quick, huh? Let's close. Let's go to the destination to see if that's the case. Here we go. How about email address? Select the top 1,000 rows. So we've successfully created our snapshot. Right here it is. This one, that's our snapshot. And then our subscriber. And let's view the synchronization status. Apply the snapshot to the subscriber. All right, that's good. Now, there is no automation with this, right? This is snapshot replication. You also notice this little icon will change. That is the icon, little pink thing there, for snapshot replication. We decide when it's going to run. All right. That is a successful setup with a few errors, and you're going to have errors in setup replication because there are a ton of moving parts with this. All you have to do is read the error and address it. All right, in this lecture, let's take a look at the jobs that are created when we create replication, specifically when we create the snapshot portion of replication. So you can see I've deleted all my jobs here on this instance called SQL 01. Well, not quite. I've deleted all the jobs that come installed when you install SQL Server. So now I'm going to delete all of them. So let's delete. You can see that I have the snapshot replication set up from the previous video. So let's kill that also. Right click. Let's delete. Sure. And now we don't have anything, nor do we have any jobs. So whatever happens when we run our create script, it's going to create the job specific only to replication. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we should have two jobs. And they are expired subscription cleanup, which calls this stored procedure, expired subscription cleanup. Interesting, huh? Look at this. This is actually pretty comical. On general, we have the description. Detects and removes expired subscriptions from the published databases. All right, so we know what it does. However, take a look at this. If we come and look at the snapshot, no description available. I'm not sure if they forgot to do that or they just decided to exclude it because the description would be too hard for us. I don't know. I think that's an error. So here we have a little bit more going on in this job. So let's take a look at the job. All right, let's examine the steps in the snapshot agent job. So in our first step, we see the execution of the sp underscore ms add underscore snapshot underscore history stored procedure. So what this really does is simply updates the performance counters and displays the snapshot agent startup message. All right, that's it. The next is a little more involved, and this is called the run agent. This is a step that actually executes the snapshot agent. The command advises the snapshot agent to use the X server, both as publisher and distributor, to read the X publication within the X database, and to impersonate the SQL Server agent account when connecting to the publisher. Security mode equals 1. The security mode equals 0 would advise the snapshot agent to use SQL Server login for connecting to the publisher. If this second step runs successfully, the entire job completes reporting success. This last step simply writes out the history of the job and logs messages to the SQL Server agent error log. All right, in this lecture, let's talk about the distributor and the distribution database. When you set up distribution, SQL Server creates a distribution database. The distribution database is classified as a system database. Now you can install multiple distribution databases on the distributor. If multiple publishers use the same distributor, you can reduce contention if the publisher uses a separate distribution database. However, the majority of the time you'll use one distributor. The distribution database contains metadata about the publisher's publications and their articles. Additionally, the database contains metadata about the progress and state of the replication process. And in the case of transactional replication, the database also contains any transact SQL commands that were executed on the publisher that need to be replicated. For each command, all the data necessary to re-execute that command is also stored in that database. Because of this, the size of the distribution database can get large. This means that the distribution database size is affected by the number of transact SQL statements, their frequency, and the type of statements that are executed by your application to insert or update data. Now, it's important you keep your eye on the size of the distribution database. And if it grows too large, later on in the course, we'll tell you how to fix that. In this lecture, let's talk about how transactional replication works. Transactional replication is implemented by the SQL Server snapshot agent, the log reader agent, and the distribution agent. The snapshot agent prepares the snapshot files containing schema and data of published tables and database objects, stores the files in a snapshot folder, and then records synchronization jobs in the distribution database on the distributor. The log reader agent monitors the transaction log of each database configured for transactional replication and copies the transactions marked for replication from the transaction log into the distribution database. the distribution agent copies the initial snapshot files from the snapshot folder and the transactions held in the distribution database tables to subscribers. Incremental changes made at the publisher flow to subscribers according to the schedule of the distribution agent, which can run continuously for minimal latency or at scheduled intervals. Because changes to the data must be made at the publisher when transaction replication is used without updating or queued updating options, update conflicts are avoided. Ultimately, all subscribers will achieve the same values as the publisher. If immediate updating or queued updating options are used with transaction replication, updates can be made at the subscriber, and then queued updating conflicts might occur. All right, in this lecture, let's go ahead and set up transactional replication. So we follow the same procedures as we do previously with creating snapshot replication. So let's go here. Let's drop down to, let's see what table, human resource department. Yeah, I need that for later. Let's go into replication. Just make sure there's nothing there. Let's right click, new publication. Go through the wizard. Yep, that's the one I want. Nope, there I want transaction replication. And here it gives you a description of what that is. Great, we know what it is. Now I wanted the human resources department. All right, so let's go find department human resources. Yep, there we go. Let's say next. We don't want to filter here. Let's say next. Nope, we want to leave these blank. Next. Security. We're going to use the agent service. Log greater agent. Use the security setting from the snapshot agent. Yep, use that. Great. Create the publication. We want to script it also. Next. There's the location, append. No, we're going to overwrite. Next. And we'll call this Adventure Works Trans Rep. So we'll say finish. And we'll say close. So now we've got, see, notice the icon, we've got the blue one. Last time we had pink, all right? This little blue thing with the green arrow means transactional replication. So let's go ahead and connect to our second instance, and now let's go ahead and create a subscription. So we'll right click and new subscription. It says, hey, what publication you want to use? The one you just created? I do. Run agents at the distributor? I do. Find a subscriber. All right, let's do that. 102. We're gonna have to add a new database, or we can go and overwrite this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Next. Check the security. We're gonna run under the agent. Next. Run continuously. Yes. At first sync. Yeah, we're gonna initialize at first synchronization. Create the subscription and then generate a script file for that also. Yep, we want scripts everywhere. Overwrite existing. Finish. Finish. I have to start this down here. I do. I want that started. That has to be started. All right, so now we have our publication, we have our subscription, and let's take a look at this. Let's view the snapshot agent status. What hasn't been run, right? Well, let's start that. We want it to run. It has to run before it'll take the snapshot of the data that we ask it to. All right. Done. Nice and quick. Right click on the subscription and view the synchronization status. 4 transactions with 18 commands were delivered. Let's come up here and take a look at that table that we replicated. All right, so what was it? Human Resources Department. I think it was department, right? So, okay. So we have Mike IT. So let's go over here and insert someone else. Max, we'll say he is good. And his role is IT. And we'll insert that. So if we come over here, we right click and we select the top 1000 rows, right? There's max IT. So let's go see if we have it over here. Here's the database here. Tables, department, and now there's max IT. All right, well, you're thinking, well, he could have been there. All right, well, let's go over and do another insert. Let's insert someone else. How about Jack IT? Let's insert Jack. Give it a second to replicate over there. And now let's come back over to, where are we? On O2. No, that's still O1. Nope, O1. Down here you can see 102. Let's see if Jack made it over. And Jack, indeed, I spelled Jack wrong, right? But he still made it over. So in this lesson, we walked through setting up transaction replication. It was pretty straightforward, easy to set up. We only published one article or one table, but that was done so we could see how quickly the replication process would work. And it was pretty quick. In this lesson, let's talk about merge replication. Let's define it. Merge replication allows two or more databases to be kept in sync. Any changes applied to one database will automatically be applied to the other databases, and vice versa. Merge replication was designed to allow for data changes on the publisher as well as the subscriber. But merge replication also allows for disconnected scenarios. The merge agent is responsible for synchronizing the changes between the publisher and its subscribers. It utilizes a set of triggers to identify articles that have changed and records those changes. Because data can be modified on both subscriber and publisher, it's possible for a row to be updated in two different places at the same time, which can result in data being in conflict. Merge replication comes with several built-in options to help resolve these conflicts. Merge replication identifies rows across the different servers by using a unique identifier, with the row good column property set to unique constraint defined on that column. If you publish a table that does not have such a column, a properly configured unique identifier column will be automatically added. And we'll see this happen in the upcoming lesson. All right, in this lesson, let's go ahead and set up merge replication. So in order to start that, we go to a familiar location at this point. We right click and we say new publication. We've got our new publication wizard. Next, we're going to go with the same database we've been using. And here we've got a merge publication, right? Makes sense. Next. Yes, the box is I think this is a 2014. So we're going 2008 or later. Tables, Human Resources Department. So let's go find the Department Human Resources table. All right, let's click next. All right, thanks for letting us know. Nope, no filters. We will discuss filters in the upcoming lesson. Create a snapshot immediately. No. Schedule the snapshot to run at the following times. Yeah, sure, why not? Here we got our security settings, and we will run under the agent. All right, so we're going to run under the SQL Server agent. Create the publication. Let's generate the script file. Next, it's going to say create publication SQL. We're going to append. We want to overwrite that file. Next, and we're going to call this, how about ADV merge. Finish. It's pretty quick. Let's come up here. Up we go. And there, look, we've got a new icon. Notice the arrows? We got two arrows pointing in at each other. All right, let's right click. Let's view the snapshot status. All right, so let's generate a snapshot. It's only one article, right? Because that's all we said. We were just doing one table. So we can close. Now let's go to O2. All right, let's see what jobs are created. We'll come back to this in a minute, but let's just take a look. Same thing. Two jobs, just like in the transaction replication snapshot. All right, so let's go back up here and let's go connect to the subscriber. Let's say next. Let's come down to Replication, New, Subscription. This time we're going to pull. We're going to create the subscription from here, all right? Not up here. New subscription, new subscription. We've got our new subscription wizard. Next, it says choose the publication. All right, which publication do we want? It is on another box. It is on O1. So we're going to connect that. It says, oh, look, we found it. Good. Next, we're going to run all agents at distributor. No, we're going to run each agent at the subscriber. This is a pool subscription. Right, it's pulling from here. That means we're taking resources off SQL 01 and placing them on O2. Why? Because SQL 01 is the prod box and he usually gets pounded. This is going to be a reporting instance, so most of the time it's going to have some resources to spare. We've got our subscription database. Next, security. We're going to do this again, the service account, and we're going to go next. Run on demand only, run continuously. So let's go ahead and run on demand only. Actually, let's run continuously. Next. Yes, I want you to initialize it immediately. Yep, next. Subscription type, client, first to publisher win. So here we're saying who's going to win in the event of a conflict. Well, most of the time it's going to be the server, all right? So here's the priority for the conflict resolution. All right, so this number is the priority for the server to win in a conflict. All right, we don't want it. We want it to win most of the time. So we're going to say 99% of the time when there's a conflict, we want the server to win. We want the production database to win. All right. That's a little high, right? Why not just set up snapshot replication then? All right. Well, for our purposes here, you're going to have to decide this number, and you're going to have to decide who wins. All right. The client is O2. The server is O1. So we're saying 99% of the time, I want the server to win. Next, let's generate scripts, and let's go ahead and create the publication. And let's go ahead and finish. We've generated scripts. We're done. Let's come down and refresh. And now we should see a subscription. And view synchronization status. All right, so the NT authority system does not have access permission on the publication. All right, so it's pretty self-explanatory. This account, right? Remote does not exist, or yeah, okay, that's fine. So let's come up here. All right, so let's go right click here. Let's go to properties. Let's go to publication access list because it was pretty specific. That account is not on. Oh, okay. Well, it is now. And just like that. All right, let's start it up again. All right, let's give it a second. I should not have to restart the service, but we'll give it a second to sync up. And there we go. Waiting 60 seconds before polling. And now we're good. All right, let's take a look at the jobs that were created by creating transactional replication. We've already looked at the jobs that were created by creating the snapshot. Now, once we've created transactional replication, let's look at those jobs. We've got the log reader agent. The log reader agent is implemented by 3 steps, much like its snapshot counterpart. The first step records the startup of the log reader agent and updates performance counters. The second step actually runs the log reader agent. Again, the parameters are very similar to those of the snapshot agent. The only difference is the continuous parameter, which specifies the log reader agent should run at all times instead of on a particular schedule. Now, if you specify a schedule for running the log reader agent, the continuous parameter will be dropped. The third and final step of the log reader agent executes the SP-MS-detect non-log shutdown, which attempts to detect a problem that prevented the log reader agent from succeeding and then reports any of its findings. The second job created is the distribution agent. The distribution agent is also implemented by using 3 steps. The first step records the status of the history of the agent. The second step actually runs the agent, the exact same pattern as the others. The third optional attempts to determine the cause of failure, if any. All right, in this lesson, let's go ahead and test out merge replication. So here we have our table. We've got some people that we've inserted into the end. Let's go ahead and do a select. Human Resources Department. Let's see, Jeff is the last one here. We are on O2. Let's look over here. Select who's the last one over here. Jeff is the last one over here too. All right, so I'm connected to O1 down here, as you can see. And in this window, I'm connected to O2. I'm going to insert into the table Sue. Sue goes into O2. And who goes in? Rhyme. Sue into O2. Alex into O1. Alex doesn't rhyme. Notice we have the GUIDs, right, for uniqueness on both tables. Let's go ahead and see how fast it synchronizes when we do the insert into each. All right, let's look on 2. Let's see if it's over there. All right, Sue is there. Alex, she's not yet. She's on row 2. So is Alex. Alex is over here. Is Alex there yet? Nope. All right, let's give it a second. We'll keep checking. Is Sue over here yet? Nope. Let's check over here. Let's see. Nope. Oh, look, Alex is on both now. Alex is here. Oh, Sue, look. Sue was on O2, but Sue is not over here yet. Ah, there she is. All right, so we've got Alex and Sue both on, where am I at? O2, and we have Alex and Sue both on O1. All right, so the merge process is working. All right. All right, in this lesson, let's take a quick look at the tool we use to monitor replication called Replication Monitor. Now, it is one of the uglier tools that you'll ever see. However, it does provide us with some information into what's happening with replication. So let's go take a look at it. You can actually access it from the publication right there, right click, and we go to Launch Replication Monitor. You can do it on local publications, right click, Launch Replication Monitor, and here it is. And it's got a yellow sign, so it's warning us about something. It's got My Publishers, so if I click on the My Publishers, it lists the publisher. Well, SQL 01 is the publisher. So the publication, it looks okay. It's critical, it doesn't like something. Agents. All right, so what are the agents that are running, or what are the agents that are listed? Here we have the snapshot agent. Here we can look at the log reader agent. It's running, but there are no replicated transactions available. You can see we have all the other jobs listed too. All right, let's go back to snapshot. All right, so when was the last runtime? 1/7 at 10:43. All right, so let's go down here and run our snapshot job. All right, so I've renamed it snapshot agent, so it's a little more intuitive, and I would recommend you do the same thing. So here I've got snapshot agent, O1 to O2, and the name of the database. Easy for me to remember. Let's start that job. Completed successfully. Let's go look at the replication monitor, and we should have an update, and it says completed the snapshot agent up here at 11, what time is it? Yep, 11:01. And there it is, duration, took 1 second. It seemed like it took longer than 1 second, but that's fine. And now our warning is gone, so we're back to fine. If we right click on the subscriber, we have information about the subscriptions. Here it says it's running. Here is the name of the subscription. It's excellent health. There's no latency, meaning the transactions are being moved from the publisher to the subscriber without any issue. And the last sync was right here at 1101. All right, so there is some more information we'll talk about later. However, to be able to get some insight into your publication and subscription and the health, this is really a great tool. Okay, in this lesson, let's learn how to remove replication. Let's go see if we can drop this database. It is a published database, right? It's being replicated. Yep, there's our message. So we can drop it. We're going to have to remove replication first. So there we go. You can't drop a replicated database. So let's go down to replication. Let's click on our subscription, right click and delete. Yep, I'm sure I want to delete it. It's going to ask us to connect to it first. And there we go. So if we click on the jobs, there should be a few missing. All right, so we, look down here. Let's refresh. You can see it did not clean up the log reader agent. Remember when we first created the snapshot, it created 2 jobs. And then we created the transactional replication itself, the subscriber. And it had 2 jobs, so we had 4 jobs. So it looks like when we delete the subscriber, it only cleans 1 job up. Let's see if these get cleaned up when we kill everything. Delete. Let's see what happened. Let's go ahead and refresh. Single user mode. I'm not sure how it got that way. Well, let's fix that. All right, so let's go ahead and connect to the subscriber and get out of single user mode. First, we need to find the SPID that is offending, that's holding us up. So let's right click on master, new query. Here is our code. I will include this. We're going to use master. We don't need that because we're already master, but in case we aren't, it puts us there. Select from that database, and 59 is still hot. Why is that hot? I do not know. It's going to be cold now. There we go. Now we've got alter AdventureWorks set multi-user with immediate rollback. And now we're out. You know what? I'm going to save this and include this in the course downloads. And we will put this desktop, and we will put this and call this get out single user mode. Save it. If I forget this, you go ahead and remind me if it's not in the course downloads. So we're out of single user mode. Let's go to replication. I think I was trying to kill the publisher. Delete. I do. I want to delete it. And now if we refresh, we can come up here and delete this. I don't want to because I have to restore it then. But if we refresh, we've got no publications. Now what are the jobs? Let's see if it cleaned up the jobs. Oh, look at that. It did not clean up the snapshot job. Poor coding on Microsoft's part. So we have to. And now we're clean. We're back to square one. All right, in this lesson, let's go ahead and set up replication and use the filter row option in order to filter out some rows. So how do we do that? Well, we come back to our new publication wizard. We've seen this a few times by now. Let's go with snapshot. Let's go with tables. Let's go with, what table are we going to use? I have it up here. I keep forgetting that. So it's Department Human Resources. That one. Let's go next. And here it says filter table rows. Yes, we do. Let's add a filter. Well, what? Let's filter out on name, right? So where name is like, how about, let's go back and look at this one more time. No, I want where group name is IT. So let's do that. where group name, let's come back out of here, where group name is equal to IT, single quotes. Okay. The filter where group name is equal to IT. All right, great. Next, let's go ahead and truncate that table to just make sure that we're only going to move that over. So let's go here, new query. Let's go ahead and spell it right. Truncate table. Let's make sure that we're on. We are on O2. Make sure that I'm on O2. Blink. Let's kill it. It's gone. Now, to make sure O1 still got the data, we're going to filter on IT. So it looks like we actually got about 4 rows here. Let's move back to our filter. Good old security settings. We'll run under the agent. Create a publication. We'll call this ADV filter. Filter by IT. We'll say finish. We'll close. We are going to create a subscription. Again, we'll use O2. Yep, doesn't matter. We're going to take it apart as soon as we build it. Let's go add SQL Server. Let's go to O2. Let's go to the AdventureWorks database that exists. Let's say next. Let's say security. Yes, we're going to run under the SQL Server agent. Let's say next. Run continuously. Let's say finish. Finish. Close. So let's create the snapshot. Let's view the agent. Let's run it. View synchronization status. 1 with the 10 commands were delivered. That's weird. Should be 10 commands. Let's go ahead and click on department. Select top 10. And I'm not sure why 10 commands were delivered, but it did exactly as we set up in the filter row. Everyone with a group name of IT has been moved to our subscriber. All right. All right, so in this lesson, let's learn how to filter out columns. All right, let's say I don't want the modified date. All right, I just want, as a matter of fact, I don't want department ID or modified date. I want name and group name. So let's filter out those two. Let's come up here to the publisher, properties. Let's go to articles. Let's go to the article in question here, human resources, all right, modified date and ID. And we're going to say OK. And it's going to say, hey, we have to use a new snapshot. You all right with that? Yep, I am. So let's view the snapshot agent status. Start it again. I want it fresh. Let's come down here to this table. Let's select top 100 rows. And now we've added our column filter. So the only thing we see is the name and the group name. And a nifty trick for being able to selectively choose what columns to push to the subscriber. All right, in this lesson, let's learn how to shrink a large distribution database. Now, when we say the distribution database is too big, I mean, that's kind of what's too big, right? Well, kind of as a general rule, a 25 gig distribution database is simply too large. So if we see it that large, it means that the cleanup process is having a hard time deleting replicated transactions. So let's go fix it. Now, in later versions, for example, in 2014, we're going to see this is already fixed. However, prior to that, I think maybe in 2012 and certainly in 2008 and R2, this isn't fixed. So let's go fix this. We're going to click on the distribution database. All right, so we're going to navigate to this one, and then it's MS Delete, Publish or Trans. We're going to right click, we're going to modify, and we're going to scroll down to here. So here's the line we want to focus on. In older versions, you'll see this. All right, we don't want that. And in this version, it looks like it was corrected. Let's say I want to change it for our purposes here to 1,000. All right, so I want to delete the top 1,000. So let's go ahead, see if that is use distribution. Is that alter? Yeah, we've got alter. Simply say OK. Now we need to run the store procedure to clean that up. All right, so we're going to run cleanup, min distribution 0. These are days. Max distribution 120. Right? You can see I tested it here to see if I had any. This is 5 days, so let's knock this back. Let's just knock it back to, I don't know, 60 and see if it cleans up anything. Nope. Let's knock it back to 10 because obviously this is a test box. I don't care. Nope. So I didn't have any. However, in a real world environment, you are, especially if you have a distribution database that's massive. Now, keep in mind, this can take a long time. So you're probably going to want to schedule the execution of this after hours. And depending on, I mean, a 25 gig database, and you run it with even 120 days, we're talking hours. All right. So again, maybe you schedule this at night. You can put this in a job, right? We can right click, copy. We can come down. We can say new job. We can say clean up. We can go to steps. We can say new. We can paste that there. We can make sure it parses. We can say step 1, S1. All right, let's schedule it for the evening. S1. And how about at 4 a.m. when no one's on the box? And now it will run at 4 a.m. Uh-oh. So we need to make sure in our steps that we have the database selected. So it is distribution. All right, I overlooked that, didn't I? Maybe that'll help you not overlook it. Let's run it again. All right, we're good. So just make sure you choose the distribution database. All right. So that is it to clean up a very large distribution database. Again, anything over 25 gigs, no matter what the environment is, it's probably a good time to give this store procedure a little boost. All right, in this lesson, we're going to talk about cleaning up something called the immediate sync issue. So distribution cleanup for highly active servers with 100 million rows cached can cause an issue. If we reduce the number of transactions and commands cached in the distribution database, we can improve overall replication performance. In these environments, we're going to disable this immediate sync flag. When it's enabled, the setting maintains the replicated transactions in the distribution database, just in case a new subscriber is added or an existing subscriber needs to be reinitialized. If new subscribers are not added or the existing one is not being reinitialized, this feature can be disabled. When disabled, the transactions are deleted as soon as they are replicated to the subscriber, thereby reducing the replication metadata overhead. The jobs that are responsible for deleting these are the MS-REPL transactions and the MS-REPL commands table. Two parameters are passed to the cleanup job. The first one is the minimum number of hours to keep the transactions, and the second is to delete if the transactions are older. So we don't need to hack the stored procedure this time. All we need to do is set this flag to false. So let me show you where it gets set first. When we create a publication, I said this earlier in the course, so we'll get back to this, and now we're getting back to this. New publication. Next. Next. Snapshot. Tables. Not all of them. Let's, want it to be quick, so let's take that off. Address. Cool. Next. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Next. I'm going to cancel this. Create a snapshot immediately and keep the snapshot available to initialize subscriptions. All right. If this is clicked, this flag is set to true. All right. So this is what it looks like when we look at the immediate sync in the distribution database. So the immediate sync is set to 1. All right. It'll be here too. The immediate sync in the publication database. Here is AdventureWorks 2014 will be set to 1. All right. We don't want that. All right. So let's cancel out of that. So in order to remedy that, we're going to execute this SP change publication. Here's the name of the publication, right? There it is. We can see as we hold the cursor over it, the name of the publication name. It says ADV works. That's what we need to pass in here. ADV works filter by whatever this is. The property immediate sync, the value, we don't want that. We want false. All right. Execute. Now, if we come over here, we should see immediate sync set to 0. That's what we want, right? We want immediate sync set to 0. And now we've just corrected the immediate sync issue, all right?